Hey everybody, this is John from /bash, and today I am bringing you another proRevenge Reddit video. If you're new to the channel, then subscribe and ring that notifications bell so you don't miss out on the fun. In our first story, in order to get paid, I had to catfish my boss. Let's jump right in. I used to work for a married couple. Billy, a 52-year-old male, and Gigi, a 44-year-old female, who owned a business services and public relations agency. It lasted more or less for a year. They seemed nice and humble, but in reality they were shady and untruthful. The company began to falter because of poor management and zero intention to prioritize. Billy was your baby-faced next-door neighbor type. He looked about 10 years younger and had a kind smile. He was soft-spoken and had an artistic and creative flair to him. Gigi looked matronly with a Mother Earth incarnate attitude towards her children. She prided herself on being ruthless when it came to giving her family only the best. She could be really nice when she wanted to, but I found out early on that she was 100% skilled at gossip and being two-faced. The company's constant changes were a red flag. They went from business services and PR agency to IT provider to a business incubator to indie beer partners. What I'm trying to say is that they tried to dip their donut on everyone's coffee, figuratively. Some of us had no real way to escape. The lady working next to me was already 67 years old and scared that no one would hire her. I wasn't in a great place either. We were 8 employees in total. They wouldn't lay anyone off because they believed that the employee should quit. They paid us only a portion of our salaries, incomplete weekly payments. Employees would run for the hills once they found a better job. Some of us were stuck. It was horrible. Then they would pay the normal rate for a month and then do it again. They never cut down on their luxury expenses, so the wife would post her shopping sprees or arrive in a new car like it was nothing. Zero empathy, very insensitive. The husband was obsessed with making it big time, so much that he sometimes failed to see an opportunity right in front of him. He said he was Coca-Cola's brand manager. I swear I looked it up and could never find any reference. Gigi had a display full of small local magazines, mostly about design and architecture. They were very proud to be a team member, but in reality, they just helped them print 2 issues. They wanted big business only, but in the meantime, looked down upon tangible potential clients, like the young Latino couple who showed up trying to learn more about their services. They seemed lost because they wanted someone to help them set up a coffee business and had no idea how it was done. I talked to them and helped them into the waiting room. They even showed up with their baby in a stroller. That means they must have driven by and decided to come in. An impulse client should be retained. The guy said his grandpa had a farm and he wanted to create an import-exports company. Once Billy showed up, he listened for a bit, then kind of gave them a kind of abrupt dismissal. That was a dick move because that couple opened their own business with someone else and even have a Facebook page. It could have been Billy. Billy lined his office walls with posters of Steve Jobs and Elon Musk. His wife, the chief enabling officer, put up signs on each room. The main employee area was the machine room. Billy's office was the chamber. The conference room was a meeting of the minds. Every time an employee disagreed with Billy during a brainstorming session, Gigi would call them aside and tell them that Billy is your boss. You need to know that he is brilliant and a genius. I want him to have that taste of success. I experienced that firsthand. I also hated brainstorming because that was never on my job description. They just wanted to pick everyone's brains. In the meantime, we had to see the Pandora jewelry, the expensive makeovers for their daughters, and the weekend at the spa updates on Facebook. Gigi's captions were usually about rewarding herself after a hard week or because she deserved it. Oh, and I'd like to mention that they bought into the social guru phrases about emotional direction. So if an employee ever got angry, Gigi would tell you, remember, the one who gets angry is the one who ends up losing. For anyone who's been in this situation, you may understand how painful it can be. You cannot leave that job because you have no other job waiting for you, and pathetic as it may sound to some income is better than no income at all. This is an involuntary compromise and it's abusive. Why were we expected to pay for their luxuries via incomplete wages? My best friend's ex is into coding and programming, and he agreed to help. If it didn't work out, at least we would have something to laugh about. We created a kick-ass fake website with a matching LinkedIn and the whole 9 yards. To make a long story short, this was supposed to be an investment company and my friend would be very casual, nothing too eager. He started by liking my employer's Facebook page, then comment. Before we knew, my boss took the bait and was engaging. They exchanged emails and he was eager to share all his projects and ambitious stuff. On the other side, the investor sent him a list of requirements, like proof of concept, employer payroll, EIN number, etc. The investor agreed to work with them if they could prove they were legit and up to date. No bank account or confidential info was asked. Within 3 weeks, I was paid the equivalent to the 2 months and a half I was owed. Then, the investor did an about-face and never contacted him again. I left that job as soon as I could. To clarify, no money was paid, asked for, or wired from my boss to the investor. We baited his greedy character and told him that if he could prove everything was in order, the investment would happen. This included the payroll. No confidential info was asked nor offered, seen or reviewed. He simply paid everyone what he owed them. The payment was made to each worker as normal. No one stole money via any website. My friend, who remained until she got paid, told me our boss seemed off and a bit down after he announced big things are coming, but it all seemed to deflate. I never disclosed what was really going on. In story number 2, the company with the craziest security flaw of all time. I just want to state that this IT issue is going to blow some people's flipping minds. The security flaw that this presented was nothing short of incredible, and the fact that we never had a major security breach is astounding. It truly is. What flaw, you may ask? Everyone in the entire company's password was the same password. Yes, folks, you read that right. Every single password to every single employee login was the same password. It was like this before I joined the company and for quite a few years after, until, well, enjoy the story. Now, what about the username? That must have been the trick, right? Oh yeah, that was the trick. The username was the employee email address. I did point out this flaw to my management and their response was, "That's not our area to be concerned about, so whatever it paid, well, I'll just do my job." And then one day we had a Windows update which caused a piece of the software I used at work to break. I submitted a help ticket and after escalating this issue to the CTO, it wasn't a huge company. The CTO said, "I don't want to spend the time fixing this. Use this workaround." To which I pointed out the workaround slows things down, makes my job harder, and this Windows update has to affect more than just me. I was told to suck it up. Now at the time the CEO was the son of the founder and a bit of a flipwit. I legit feel at this point in time he was just collecting a paycheck and letting everything run on auto and didn't pay attention. But I was mad at the CTO for brushing me off, so I penned an email to the CEO. It was a short email. I simply said, "I discovered a massive security flaw that could potentially expose us to huge liabilities. When would be a good time to discuss this?" The response, "What security flaw?" I decided to demonstrate the flaw. I picked 2 random salespeople, I didn't know them. I got their username and I logged into their systems. I pulled 2 random customers' personal information, the kind of information that would have easily allowed me to commit identity fraud, take out credit in their names, etc., all kinds of bad stuff. I emailed the CEO and I explained anyone who knows the URL to log into our system can log into anyone's account, pull up customers' information, and everyone has the same password. To prove this for you, I logged into 2 employees' random accounts and pulled 2 different customers' profiles and I've attached them. One single disgruntled employee could screw us over. 25 minutes later, my phone rings. It's the CEO. He was nice, very interested in how I did this. This guy isn't the sharpest knife in the drawer, and I pointed out the flaw in plain English and the liability that it presents to him. I walked him through the process of hacking my own account, as he called it. I'd hate to call it hacking because it was so easy. Now it dawned on the CEO that this liability was huge. I pointed out again in our conversation a single upset employee could destroy us. The fact that it hadn't happened already is nothing short of a miracle. I get told they want me to present this to the executive team so they can discuss a solution. Honestly, the solution is flipping obvious. So a day later, we have the conference call. It's the CEO, the CTO, COO, and CFO, the company lawyer, the senior VP, etc. And on the call, I demonstrate the flaw and I lay out how, if I as a layperson with very little IT background is able to figure this out, it's incredible that we have this flaw. Everyone is in agreement that it is a huge issue, except the CTO. The CTO gets very upset at me. He wants me fired for hacking the system. He says that per our employee handbook, what I did is a fireable offense. I point out that I'm not abusing this loophole, and I'm only doing it to expose the flaw because I care about the company, and I think this is something that needs to be brought forward. I point out that a former disgruntled employee could log into an account and steal our customers' personal information. If that were traced back to us, the liability would be huge. I could tell our corporate attorney agreed with me and was shocked at what I was demonstrating. The CTO pointed out that former employees' usernames are disabled, to which I pointed out every employee username is their email address. It would be trivial for a former disgruntled employee to use a different employee email address that they remember to log in. And since everyone's password is the same, they don't even have to guess. The CTO points out that we would know who did it because of the IP address. I pointed out that VPNs are indeed a thing. The corporate attorney actually wasn't familiar with what VPNs do, and I explained it. What shocked me was the whole time the only person in the meeting who didn't agree that this flaw needs to be changed was the Chief Technology Officer. The CEO made it clear that this issue would be fixed by the end of business that day, and there were no ifs, ands, or buts about this. The meeting ended. After the meeting, the CTO called me privately. He was pissed. I just exposed his incompetence because the system was his design. The decision for everyone to have the same password was his decision. And I know why he did it. He did it because he was flipping lazy. And I said to the CTO, "You're a crappy CTO. You shouldn't be in the position you are. You are lazy and you should have found a better solution for my help ticket." He stops and asks, "So this is about your stupid help ticket?" I go, yes, it is. He laughs and says he's going to have me fired. I laugh and go, I'm pretty sure someone is getting fired. I'm also super confident that's not going to be me. Well, sure enough, later that day we got an email stating that everyone was to change their passwords to something unique. A week later, the CEO announced the old CTO stepped down to spend more time with his family. On the first day of the new CTO tenure, he sent me an email telling me he wanted to personally work on my help ticket and find a solution around the Windows update, which I'm pleased to say he did. And later, I had conversations with our attorney at a meeting. We legit never had a security breach, which is simply astounding. The attorney admitted that was just plain dumb luck on our part, and if we would have had a security breach, it would have been very bad for us. This is John from /bash. Please hit that like button to help with the almighty YouTube algorithm, and make sure you have subscribed and have notifications on so that YouTube can let you know when my next video drops. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.